The hybrid engine sat in the center of the testing bay, looking like a sculpture made from two different dreams. Half of it gleamed with Voxarian crystal matrices, elegant and precise. The other half was solid human engineering, durable and strong. Together they formed something neither species had ever created alone. All connections are secure, Hana said, checking her tablet for the 5th time. Crystal matrix is stable. Redundant supports are in place. Plasma flow regulators are calibrated, Taehyun added, running his own checks. Coolant systems are optimal. Backup systems are ready. He looked at her across the engine. We're ready. They had worked for 3 straight days with almost no sleep, racing to complete the project. The testing demonstration was scheduled for today, with both human and Voxarian officials attending. It was Hana's chance to prove something. Maybe her last chance before her diplomatic mission ended, and she was forced to return home. The testing bay filled with people. Admiral Choi arrived with his senior staff. The human diplomatic corps filed in looking excited and curious. The Voxarian advisors came last, Kresh leading them with his usual expression of disdain. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored Voxarian guests, Admiral Choi announced, today we're here to witness something unique. Princess Hana and Master Mechanic Taehyun Kim have been working on a collaborative project, combining Voxarian and human technology. They've asked permission to demonstrate their work. A waste of time, Kresh muttered in Voxarian, just loud enough for Hana to hear. Primitive human technology and the princess's sad attempts to seem useful. Hana ignored him. She stepped forward with Taehyun at her side. Thank you all for coming, she said, her voice steady despite her nerves. What you see before you is a hybrid engine. It uses Voxarian crystal matrix technology for efficiency and human redundant engineering for durability. In theory, it should produce 30% more power than a comparable human engine, while using 20% less fuel than a comparable Voxarian engine. In theory, Kresh said in human standard this time, making sure everyone heard. The princess always had grand theories. Reality tends to disappoint. Taehyun's jaw clenched, but Hana put a hand on his arm. Then let's test reality, she said calmly. She turned to the engine. Beginning startup sequence. Her fingers moved across the control panel. The engine hummed to life, the crystal matrices beginning to glow. The human components kicked in with a solid, reliable sound. For a moment, the two halves seemed to work independently. Then something beautiful happened. They synchronized. The engine's hum became smooth and unified. The crystal glow pulsed in rhythm with the human power systems. Energy readings on the displays began climbing steadily, smoothly, higher than either technology should achieve alone. Hana read the numbers aloud. Power output at 105% of projected maximum. Fuel efficiency at 92%. Temperature stable. All systems optimal. The room erupted in excited murmurs. The human engineers crowded around the displays checking readings. Even some of the Voxarian advisors looked impressed, though they tried to hide it. Impossible, Kresh said flatly. Those readings must be wrong. Check them yourself, Taehyun offered, gesturing to the control panel. Everything is open for inspection. We've got nothing to hide. Admiral Choi was grinning broadly. This is remarkable. If we could implement this technology across our fleet, and the Empire's vessels could benefit as well, one of the Voxarian advisors added, his tone thoughtful. The fuel savings alone would be significant. Hana increased the power gradually, pushing the engine through its full range. Every test came back perfect. The hybrid design worked exactly as they had calculated, maybe even better. She and Taehyun exchanged looks, both of them trying not to smile too widely. They had done it. They had actually done it. This proves something important, Admiral Choi said, addressing the whole room. Cooperation between our species is not just possible, it's beneficial. We can achieve more together than we ever could apart. One successful engine doesn't prove anything, Kresh said coldly. It's a novelty. Nothing more. It's proof of concept, Hana said firmly, turning to face him. She was done being quiet, done accepting his contempt. It shows that different approaches can complement each other, that what one species sees as weakness another sees as strength, that working together creates something better than working alone. She took a deep breath. I spent my whole life being told I was wrong. Wrong shape, wrong appearance, wrong way of thinking. But here I found people who valued my differences, who saw my knowledge and skills instead of just my appearance, Who taught me that there's strength in diversity, not shame. The room had gone quiet. Everyone was listening. So yes, this is just one engine, Hana continued. But it represents something bigger. It represents what's possible when we stop judging by arbitrary standards and start valuing real contributions. When we cooperate instead of compete. When we respect differences instead of mocking them. She looked directly at Kresh. You can report to my father that his joke didn't work. The humans weren't disgusted by me. They valued me. They respected me. They helped me become stronger. And together, we created something your empire, for all its advanced technology, never managed to build. Kresh's face hardened, but he said nothing. What could he say? The engine was right there, working perfectly, proof of everything Hana claimed. Admiral Choi started clapping. Then Sua joined in. Soon the entire human contingent was applauding. Even a few of the Voxarian advisors, the younger ones, added their approval in the Voxarian way, a soft chiming sound. After the demonstration ended and the officials left to discuss the technology's implications, Hana and Taehyun stood alone in the testing bay. The engine continued humming softly in the background, their shared creation, their proof. You were amazing, Taehyun said, standing up to Kresh like that. Telling everyone how you really felt. I learned from you, Hana said with a small smile. You taught me that I don't have to accept other people's judgments. That I can define my own worth. We should celebrate, Taehyun suggested. Maybe dinner in the observation deck? Sua said she'd help me cook something special. That sounds perfect. Hana moved closer to him. Taehyun, I have to tell you something. After today's success, the diplomatic mission will probably end soon. The trade agreements are almost finalized. I'll be expected to return to the Empire. No, Taehyun said immediately. You're not going back there. I don't want to, Hana said. But I'm a princess. I have duties, obligations. You have the right to choose your own life, Taehyun countered. Hana, stay here. Request asylum. The Admiral will grant it, I know he will. You've proven your value to this station 100 times over. And what would I do here? Hana asked, though her heart was already hoping. Whatever you want, Taehyun said. Continue engineering work, teach, research, live freely. He took her hands in his. Be with me. Build a life together. We could keep designing things, keep creating, keep proving that cooperation works. We could get married if you want. Start a family eventually, maybe. Figure out how human Voxarian relationships work. Be pioneers. Married, Hana repeated softly. Her culture had similar concepts. Bonding ceremonies that lasted lifetimes. You want to marry me? I love you, Taehyun said simply. I want to spend my life with you. I want to wake up every morning and see your face. I want to solve problems together and argue about engineering and laugh at stupid jokes. I want everything with you. I want that too, Hana whispered. More than anything. But Taehyun, my father won't accept this. He'll see it as another embarrassment. He might demand my return. He might threaten to break off diplomatic relations. Then he'll learn something about humans, Taehyun said fiercely. We don't abandon people. We don't let bullies win. If he wants you back, he'll have to go through every person on this station because they all respect you. They all value you, and I think they'd all stand between you and anyone who tries to hurt you. Before Hana could respond, the bay doors opened. Admiral Choi entered, his face serious. Behind him came the full Voxarian delegation, including Kresh. Princess Hana, the Admiral said formally. I've just received another message from Emperor Thalvex. He's heard about your engine demonstration. Hana's stomach dropped. What did he say? He's demanding your immediate return to the Empire. He's calling your behavior disgraceful. He says you've humiliated the royal family by working with laborers and creating unauthorized technology. Admiral Choi paused. He's also threatening to break the trade agreement if we don't send you back immediately. Kresh looked triumphant. The Emperor has spoken. The princess will return home and face the consequences of her actions. No, Taehyun said loudly. Everyone turned to look at him. No, she won't. You have no say in this, mechanic, Kresh sneered. Actually, he does, Admiral Choi said calmly. Because I'm about to offer Princess Hana political asylum. And if she accepts, she becomes a resident of this station under human protection. Hana's eyes went wide. Admiral, you've proven yourself valuable to this station and to human interests, the Admiral continued. Your knowledge, your skills, and your character make you an asset we'd be fools to lose. More importantly, you deserve the chance to live free from cruelty and disrespect. The message arrived during a formal diplomatic dinner. Admiral Choi was in the middle of a toast when his assistant rushed in and whispered in his ear. The Admiral's face went tight and he excused himself. The Voxarian advisors looked pleased, which immediately made Hana nervous. She found out why an hour later. The message was from Emperor Thalvex himself, transmitted through official channels. That meant everyone saw it. The entire diplomatic corps, the station command staff, and most of the crew had access to official transmissions. Her father had made sure his words would be public. Hana read the message in her quarters, her hands shaking. Greetings to the human primitives of Frontier Station Goguryeo. I trust my gift to you has been amusing. I sent you my youngest daughter as a joke, a test to see how you would react to our empire's refuse. She is ugly by our standards, worthless, and an embarrassment to her bloodline. I hope you have found entertainment in her presence. Feel free to keep her. We have no use for her here. Consider this a demonstration of Voxarian generosity, giving you our waste products since you clearly have low standards. The message went on, but Hana stopped reading. She felt like she was falling, like the floor had disappeared beneath her. She had known her father was cruel. She had known he didn't love her. But to announce it publicly, to humans she had come to respect and care about, to expose her shame for everyone to see. A knock on her door. She wiped her face quickly. Come in. Sua entered, her face full of concern. Hana, I'm so sorry. That message was horrible. The whole station is talking about it. I should pack, Hana said, her voice flat and empty. I should return to the Empire. This assignment was a joke from the beginning. Now everyone knows. Don't you dare, Sua said firmly. Don't you dare let that cruel old man win. He already won. He always wins. Hana sat down on her bed, feeling exhausted. You understand now, don't you? I'm not really a diplomat. I'm just the ugly daughter he wanted to dispose of. Everything I've done here, all my work, it was all meaningless. A joke. It's not meaningless to us, Sua insisted. You've helped repair half the systems on this station. You've taught our engineers new approaches. You've been kind and brilliant and hardworking. That message just showed that your emperor is a small, petty, cruel man. It didn't show anything bad about you. The humans must think I'm pathetic. The humans think your father is a monster, Sua corrected. Admiral Choi is furious. He's drafting a response right now. We don't treat people this way, Hana, and we don't let others treat people this way either. Another knock. Tae-hyun's voice came through the door. Hana, can I come in? Hana wanted to say no. She wanted to hide. She wanted to disappear. But Sua opened the door before she could respond, and suddenly Tae-hyun was there, his face stormy with anger. I read the message, he said without preamble. Your father is a bastard, Tae-hyun, Hana whispered. I'm so sorry. I should have told you everything from the start. I should have explained that I'm not really— Stop, Tae-hyun cut her off. He crossed the room and knelt in front of her, taking her hands in his. Listen to me very carefully. That message doesn't change anything. You are brilliant. You are beautiful. You are valuable. Your father is wrong about you. He's been wrong about you your entire life, and I'm not going to let you believe his lies. But everyone knows now, Hana said, tears streaming down her face. Everyone knows I'm just the ugly daughter, the joke, the embarrassment. Everyone knows your father is cruel, Tae-hyun said fiercely. That's what they know. Hana, look at me. He waited until she met his eyes. Do you remember what we've been building together? That engine? It's almost done. It's revolutionary. It's going to change how both our species think about technology. We did that together. You and me. That's not a joke. That's real. The engine, Hana repeated, trying to focus through her tears. We're 3 days away from a working prototype. Tae-hyun continued. 3 days from proving that human and Voxarian technology can be combined into something better than either species achieved alone. Are you really going to give up now? Let your father win? Let him prove that you're worthless? Something sparked in Hana's chest. Anger, maybe, or defiance. I'm not worthless. Say it louder. I'm not worthless, Hana said, her voice stronger. Again, I'm not worthless. Hana stood up, pulling her hands from Tae-hyun's grip. I'm a skilled engineer. I'm intelligent. I've done good work here. My father is wrong about me. That's my girl, Tae-hyun said with a fierce smile. He stood up too, facing her. Now let's prove it. Let's finish that engine. Let's show everyone what you're really capable of. We should go to the observation deck, Sua said quietly from the doorway. Admiral Choi called an emergency meeting. All diplomatic personnel. It starts in 20 minutes. The observation deck was packed when they arrived. The entire human diplomatic corps was there, along with the station's senior staff. The Voxarian advisors stood in a tight group, looking smug and satisfied. They probably thought the Emperor's message would send Hana running home in shame. Admiral Choi stood at the front of the room, his face hard. I've received a message from Emperor Thalvex, he said, his voice carrying across the space. And I'm going to be blunt. It was insulting, cruel, and completely unacceptable. The Voxarian advisors shifted uncomfortably. The Emperor seems to think we would be disgusted by Princess Hana. The Admiral continued. He seems to think we would see her as some kind of joke. He's wrong. In the week she's been here, Princess Hana has been nothing but professional, skilled, and valuable. She's helped improve our systems. She's shared knowledge freely. She's been a credit to her people even if her people don't recognize it. Hana felt warmth spreading through her chest. The Admiral wasn't done. I'm drafting a response to Emperor Thalvex right now, he said, and I'm going to tell him that Frontier Station Goguryeo does not appreciate being used for his cruel games. We judge people by their actions and character, not by arbitrary beauty standards. Princess Hana has proven herself to be an exceptional person. If the Voxarian Empire doesn't value her, that's their loss and our gain. The human staff erupted in applause. Hana stood frozen, overwhelmed. These people she had known for only weeks were defending her, standing up for her, valuing her. Tae-hyun squeezed her hand gently. She squeezed back, unable to speak. That night, after the meeting ended and the Voxarian advisors retreated in confusion, Hana and Tae-hyun went to the observation deck alone. The station's huge windows looked out into space, stars scattered across the darkness like diamonds. I can't believe they stood up for me, Hana said softly. The Admiral, the crew, everyone. They barely know me. They know enough, Tae-hyun said. He was standing close to her, their shoulders almost touching. That's what humans do. We stand up for people who deserve it. We protect people who are being treated unfairly. It's one of our better qualities. One of many, Hana said, turning to look at him. Tae-hyun, I need to tell you something. Before all this happened, before that message, I was already thinking. She paused, gathering courage. I don't want to go back to the Empire. I don't want to leave here. I don't want to leave you. Tae-hyun's breath caught. Hana, I know it's complicated, she continued quickly. I'm a princess. You're a mechanic. I'm alien. You're human. There are probably 1,000 reasons why this can't work, but I don't care about any of them. These past weeks with you have been the happiest of my life. Working together, laughing together, just being together. I look at you and I see home. I see where I'm supposed to be. I see the same thing, Tae-hyun said, his voice rough with emotion. When I look at you, I see the person I've been waiting for my whole life. Someone who understands me. Someone who sees the world the same way I do. Someone who makes me want to build a future. A future, Hana repeated. Is that possible for us? I'm human, Tae-hyun said, echoing words he'd said weeks ago. We don't care about impossible. He reached out and cupped her face gently, his thumb tracing across her cheek. Her skin was warm and soft, glowing faintly purple in the starlight. Hana, I'm falling in love with you. I think I started falling that first day when you fixed the coolant system and looked at engine parts like they were treasures. I kept falling every time you smiled. Every time you got excited about a new design, every time you proved how brilliant you are. I love you too, Hana whispered. I think I've loved you since you called me beautiful and meant it. Since you saw me for who I really am. They moved together slowly, carefully. Their first kiss was gentle and tentative. Two different species learning each other. Hana's lips were slightly cooler than human lips and they glowed faintly. Tae-hyun's were warm and soft. It was strange and wonderful and absolutely right. When they pulled apart, both of them were smiling. We still have to finish that engine, Tae-hyun said. 3 more days, Hana agreed. And then? Then we show everyone what's possible, Hana said firmly. We prove that my father was wrong. We prove that cooperation and love and respect matter more than cruelty and prejudice. Together, Tae-hyun said. Together, Hana agreed. They stood in the observation deck, hand in hand watching the stars. Behind them was cruelty and rejection. Ahead was uncertainty and challenge, but in this moment they had each other, and for now that was enough. 3 weeks had passed since Princess Hana arrived at Frontier Station Goguryeo. The official diplomatic meetings happened every few days, slow and formal and boring. Trade agreements were discussed. Cultural exchanges were proposed. Everything moved at the speed of bureaucracy, which meant barely moving at all. But in the maintenance bays of the lower decks, something else was happening entirely. Hana found herself visiting the maintenance section almost every day. At first, she told herself it was just to learn about human engineering. The Voxarian advisors didn't care where she went as long as she showed up for the official meetings. They spent most of their time in their quarters, complaining about the primitive station and counting the days until they could leave. Hana didn't want to leave. "Hand me that torque wrench," Taehyun said, his head buried in an engine housing. They were working on one of the station's backup power generators, trying to improve its efficiency. The one with the curved handle. Hana passed him the tool, then peered into the housing beside him. "If you adjust the plasma flow at a 30-degree angle instead of 45, you'll get better distribution through the coils." Taehyun paused, considered, then made the adjustment. The generator's hum changed, becoming smoother. He pulled his head out and grinned at her. "You're right, again, how do you do that?" "Voxarian technology uses similar principles, just applied differently," Hana explained. She was sitting on the floor next to him, her diplomatic robes replaced by a simple worksuit Taehyun had found for her. "Your designs are built for durability and redundancy. Ours are built for maximum efficiency with minimum materials. Both have advantages, so what if we combined them?" Taehyun sat back against the wall. "Your efficiency with our durability. Has anyone tried that?" "Not that I know of," Hana said thoughtfully. "The Empire doesn't usually cooperate with other species on technology. They think everyone else is too primitive to offer anything useful." "That's arrogant. That's the Empire." Hana smiled slightly. "But maybe we could try. Design something new, something neither species has built before." Taehyun's eyes lit up with excitement. A hybrid engine. Using the best of both approaches, he jumped to his feet. "We'd need to start with theoretical calculations, figure out if the principles are even compatible." "I can do the Voxarian calculations," Hana offered, standing up beside him. "If you handle the human engineering requirements." "It's a deal." Taehyun held out his hand and Hana shook it. Their hands lingered together for a moment longer than necessary, and both of them noticed. Both of them felt the warmth of that touch. They didn't talk about it. Not yet. The hybrid engine project became their shared obsession. Hana would finish her diplomatic duties and rush to the maintenance bay. Taehyun would complete his regular work as quickly as possible so he could focus on their design. They worked late into the station's night cycle, surrounded by diagrams and calculations, arguing good-naturedly about approaches and solutions. "You can't put that much stress on a coupling joint," Taehyun said, pointing at her latest design sketch. "It'll fail after 100 hours of operation." "Not if we use a Voxarian crystalline matrix support," Hana countered. She pulled up a diagram on her tablet. "See? The crystal structure distributes the stress evenly. It's stronger than it looks. But what happens if the crystal cracks? The whole system fails. So we add a backup, a redundant human-style support that only engages if the crystal structure is compromised." Taehyun stared at the design, then slowly smiled. "That's perfect. Best of both worlds. If one system fails, the other catches it." "Exactly." Hana smiled back, and in the dim light of the maintenance bay, her purple skin glowed softly. Taehyun found himself staring at her, and not for the first time. "What?" Hana asked, noticing his look. "Nothing. Taehyun hesitated. "You're really happy here, aren't you?" In this dirty maintenance bay covered in engine grease, arguing about coupling joints. Hana looked down at her hands. They were stained with various fluids from their work. Her worksuit had smudges all over it. She should look undignified. She should feel embarrassed. "I am happy," she said softly. "Happier than I've been in years. Maybe ever." "Why?" Taehyun asked gently. "Because here I'm useful. I'm valued for what I can do, not judged for how I look." She met his eyes. "When you look at me, you don't see something ugly or embarrassing. You see a partner, someone worth working with." "I see someone brilliant and beautiful," Taehyun said quietly. "I thought that the first moment I saw you. The air between them felt charged, electric. Hana's glow brightened slightly, a Voxarian response to strong emotion. Taehyun, I need to tell you something. About why I'm really here. She explained everything. How her father saw her as an embarrassment. How sending her to the humans was meant to be a joke. A way to get rid of his ugly daughter while mocking the primitive humans at the same time. How the other Voxarians were here to witness her humiliation. How this entire assignment was designed to be cruel. Taehyun listened, his jaw getting tighter with every sentence. When she finished, he was silent for a long moment. Then he said very calmly, "Your father is an absolute fool." "He's the emperor," Hana said with a sad smile. "He's still a fool. A blind, arrogant fool who threw away the best thing his empire had." Taehyun moved closer to her. "You know what I see when I look at you? I see someone who learned an alien language perfectly in weeks. Someone who can read technical systems she's never seen before. Someone who's designing revolutionary technology just because it's interesting. And yes, I see someone who's absolutely beautiful. Your father's an idiot, and so is anyone who made you feel less than amazing." Hana felt tears forming in her eyes. Real tears, something Voxarians rarely showed. "Why are you so kind to me? You barely know me." "I know enough," Taehyun said. "I know you're brilliant and creative and dedicated. I know you make every day more interesting. I know that when you smile, the whole room lights up." Literally, in your case, Hana laughed through her tears. "That's terrible." "It's true, though." Taehyun reached out carefully and wiped a tear from her cheek. His thumb was warm against her skin. "Hana, I need to tell you something too. I like you a lot, more than just as a work partner." "I like you too," Hana whispered. "But I'm alien. You're human, and I'm supposed to return to the Empire in 3 months when the diplomatic mission ends." 3 months, Taehyun repeated. "Then we'll make the most of them. We'll finish this engine. We'll spend time together. And maybe," he paused, "maybe we'll figure something out. I'm not ready to give up on this." "On us." "On us," Hana echoed, testing the words. They felt right. Scary, but right. That night, Suha found them asleep in the maintenance bay, Hana's head on Taehyun's shoulder, surrounded by engine parts and calculations. She took one look at them and smiled. Then she quietly put a blanket over them and left. The news spread through the station quickly. The weird mechanic and the alien princess working together on some secret project. Some people thought it was strange. Some thought it was sweet. Some thought it was just Taehyun being Taehyun, finding connection with someone unusual. The Voxarian advisors heard the rumors too. Kresh brought it up during a private meeting with Hana in her quarters. "You're spending time with the human mechanic," he said, his tone dripping with disdain. "The Emperor will not be pleased to hear his daughter is consorting with laborers." "I'm working with him on an engineering project," Hana said calmly. "It's relevant to our diplomatic mission. Cross-cultural cooperation and technology exchange." "It's embarrassing," Kresh snapped. "You're already an embarrassment to the Empire. Don't make it worse by forming attachments to these primitives." Hana looked at him coldly. For the first time in her life, his words didn't hurt. "You can report whatever you want to my father. I'm doing my job. If he has complaints, he can take them up with me directly." Kresh left in a huff and Hana sat down heavily. She was changing. The scared, ashamed princess who arrived here was becoming someone different. Someone stronger. She had Taehyun to thank for that. He believed in her, and that belief was helping her believe in herself. She pulled up their engine designs on her tablet and got back to work. They were close to a breakthrough. She could feel it. And when they succeeded, she would prove something important. She would prove that cooperation was stronger than arrogance. That different could be better. That her father was wrong about everything. The hybrid engine was going to work. It had to. Because it was becoming so much more than just an engine. It was becoming proof of what was possible when 2 different worlds came together. The formal tour of Frontier Station Goguryeo was going exactly as Hana had expected. The human diplomats were polite and professional, but she could see the questions in their eyes. They kept glancing between her and the other Voxarians, trying to understand why she looked so different. She was used to it. She smiled and nodded and explained the standard things about Voxarian culture and technology. Inside, she felt tired. So very tired. They were in the main docking bay, a huge space where ships came and went, when the lights suddenly flickered. A loud grinding sound echoed through the bay and red warning lights began flashing along the walls. The human diplomats looked around nervously. One of the Voxarian advisors, a thin male named Kresh, made a disgusted sound. "Primitive human technology," he said in Voxarian, loud enough for Hana to hear. "Breaking down already." Hana ignored him. She was looking at the warning displays on the wall, reading the human technical readouts. Her mind processed the information quickly. "It's the coolant flow regulator for docking arm 3, she said in human standard. "The pressure differential is building too fast." Admiral Choi looked surprised. "You can read our technical systems?" "Engineering principles are similar across species," Hana said. "The symbols are different, but the logic is the same." She walked closer to the control panel, her eyes moving rapidly across the displays. "If the pressure continues building, the arm will tear free from its housing. You need to manually release the overflow valve, but the automatic system appears to be locked." "We've called for our maintenance chief," one of the diplomats said nervously. That's when Taehyun came running into the bay, a toolkit in his hands. He stopped short when he saw everyone staring at the control panel, and his eyes went straight to Princess Hana. For a moment, they just looked at each other. Then Hana pointed to the display. "Coolant flow regulator, docking arm 3. The overflow valve is locked." Taehyun blinked, then moved to the panel. His hands flew over the controls, checking readings. "You're right. How did you—" He stopped, shook his head. "Never mind. I need to access the manual override, but it's on the other side of that wall. It'll take me 10 minutes to get there." "You don't need to," Hana said. She pointed to a different panel. "If you reroute the command through the secondary system here, you can trigger the override from this location. It's not standard procedure, but it will work." Taehyun stared at her. Then a slow smile spread across his face. "That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant." He turned to the panel and started working. "Can you monitor the pressure readings and tell me when it starts to drop?" "Of course." Hana moved beside him, her eyes on the display. They worked together in silence, Taehyun's hands moving quickly while Hana called out readings. The other humans and Voxarians watched in confusion, but Hana didn't care. She was focused on the problem, working with someone who actually listened to her ideas. "Pressure dropping," she announced. "Overflow valve is responding. The system is stabilizing." Taehyun let out a breath and stepped back. "We did it." He turned to her and his smile was genuine and warm. "Thank you. I've never seen anyone read our systems that fast. Especially not someone who just arrived today." Hana felt something strange in her chest. Warmth. Real warmth. Not from embarrassment or shame, but from being appreciated. "You're welcome. Your solution was creative. Most engineers would have insisted on following standard procedure." "Standard procedure takes too long sometimes," Taehyun said. "Sometimes you need to think differently." He held out his hand in the human greeting gesture. "I'm Taehyun Kim, Master Mechanic, Lower Deck Maintenance." Hana took his hand carefully. Human skin was warm and soft, so different from Voxarian crystal. "Princess Hana, Diplomatic Envoy." She paused. "And engineering enthusiast." "Engineering enthusiast?" Taehyun's eyes lit up. "You studied engineering?" "Everything I could learn," Hana said. "Theory, practical application, comparative technology studies. My tutors said I had a talent for it." Behind them, Kresh made another disgusted sound in Voxarian. "The princess plays with tools like a common worker. How appropriate." Hana's expression didn't change, but Taehyun noticed something. A slight tightening around her eyes. A small tension in her shoulders. He didn't understand Voxarian language, but he understood body language perfectly. That other alien had just said something cruel. Admiral Choi cleared his throat. "Well, crisis averted. Thank you both. Perhaps we should continue the tour?" The diplomatic group moved on, but Taehyun found himself walking next to Princess Hana. The other Voxarians stayed far ahead, as if they didn't want to be seen with her. The human diplomats talked among themselves. Somehow, Taehyun and Hana ended up in their own small bubble of conversation. "Your station is impressive," Hana said quietly. "Everything is built for durability. Triple redundancies on critical systems. It's not elegant, but it's practical." "Not elegant," Taehyun repeated with a smile. "Yeah, that's human engineering in a nutshell. We build things to last even if they're not pretty. I think durability has its own beauty," Hana said. Then she looked at him curiously. "You don't think like the other humans I've read about. Most human engineers pride themselves on efficiency and minimal design." "Most humans think I'm weird," Taehyun admitted. "I like curves and soft edges. I like things that feel comfortable instead of looking impressive. My quarters look like a museum from old Earth, according to my crewmates. Hana stopped walking. She looked at him with those large, expressive eyes. You value comfort over appearance? Always, Taehyun said firmly. What's the point of something beautiful if it doesn't feel right? If it doesn't work well, give me something warm and functional over something cold and perfect any day. Something changed in Hana's expression. Hope, maybe, or surprise. That's a very unusual philosophy. So I've been told. Taehyun hesitated, then said carefully, Can I ask you something? And you can tell me if I'm being rude. Go ahead. Those other Voxarians. They treat you differently, why? Hana was quiet for a long moment. They had fallen behind the main group now, standing in a quiet corridor. Because I look different, she finally said. In Voxarian culture, beauty is measured by sharp angles and thin frames. I'm not that. I'm soft where I should be hard, curved where I should be straight. To them I'm ugly, primitive looking, an embarrassment to my family. Taehyun felt anger rising in his chest. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Hana blinked in surprise. What? You're beautiful, Taehyun said bluntly. By human standards, you're absolutely beautiful. And more importantly, you're clearly brilliant. You diagnosed that mechanical problem in seconds. You speak our language perfectly. You understand engineering principles across species barriers. And they think you're an embarrassment? They're idiots. Hana stared at him. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. In her entire life, no one had ever spoken to her like this. No one had ever looked at her the way this human was looking at her now, like she was something precious. She started, then stopped. You really think that? I know that, Taehyun said. Look, I just met you an hour ago, but I already know you're worth 10 of those other aliens combined. Anyone with eyes can see you're smart, and anyone with taste can see you're beautiful. A soft purple blush spread across Hana's face, making her skin glow brighter. Thank you, she whispered. You have no idea what that means to me. Hey, you two. Sua's voice echoed down the corridor. We're heading to the diplomatic quarters. You coming? Taehyun and Hana walked back to join the group. But something had changed between them. A connection had formed, fragile and new but undeniably real. As they walked, their hands brushed accidentally, and both of them felt electricity in that brief touch. Hana's mind was spinning. This human, this mechanic, had called her beautiful, had valued her intelligence, had looked at her like she mattered. She had come to this station expecting disgust or polite tolerance at best. She had found something else entirely, and Taehyun walked beside her, his heart beating faster than it should, thinking about purple skin that glowed like starlight and eyes that held galaxies. He had spent years feeling alone among his own people. Maybe, just maybe, he had finally found someone who understood. The throne room of the Voxarian Empire stretched high into the crystal ceiling, where light bent and scattered into 1,000 colors. Emperor Thalvex sat on his floating throne, his thin crystalline body reflecting the light like a blade. Around him, his advisors stood in perfect lines, each one tall and sharp-edged, the way all proper Voxarians should look. Princess Hana stood before her father, her head held high even though she knew what was coming. She was different from everyone in the room. Where they were thin, she had curves. Where their skin was sharp and angular like cut glass, hers was soft and glowing with a gentle purple light. Among her people, she was ugly. Among her people, she was a joke. My lords and ladies, the Emperor said, his voice carrying across the vast room, the humans have finally answered our diplomatic messages. These primitive creatures have agreed to meet with us. He paused, and Hana could see the cruel smile forming on his thin lips. I have decided to send them a gift. I will send them my youngest daughter as our ambassador. The court erupted in laughter. High tinkling sounds like breaking glass filled the air. Hana kept her face calm, even as shame burned in her chest. She had learned long ago not to show pain. It only made them laugh harder. Father, she said quietly, I accept this assignment. The Emperor waved his hand dismissively. Of course you do. Where else would you go? At least the humans might appreciate your primitive form. More laughter followed. You leave in 3 days. Try not to embarrass us more than you already do simply by existing. Hana bowed and left the throne room. She walked through the crystal corridors of the palace, passing servants who looked away and nobles who whispered behind their hands. She had lived with this her entire life. 28 cycles around their sun and not one day where she felt like she belonged. In her chambers, she began to pack. Her attendant, an old Voxarian named Vel, helped her in silence. Finally, Vel spoke. "Princess, you know this is meant to be cruel." "I know," Hana said softly. "He thinks the humans will be disgusted by me. He thinks it's funny. What will you do?" Hana folded another diplomatic robe carefully. "I will do my duty. I will represent our empire with dignity, and maybe, just maybe, the humans will judge me by my work instead of my appearance." She tried to smile. "I can hope, can't I?" Vel touched her shoulder gently. "You are the smartest person in this empire, Princess. Your father is a fool not to see it." 3 days later, Hana's ship departed for human space. The journey would take 2 weeks. She spent the time studying everything she could about humans. They were strange creatures, these humans. They had only recently discovered faster-than-light travel. Their technology was crude but functional. They built things that lasted instead of things that looked beautiful. How odd. She studied their language until she could speak it perfectly. She read their history, their culture, their engineering principles. The more she read, the more interested she became. Humans didn't seem to care much about perfect appearances. They came in many shapes and sizes. They valued something they called diversity. What a strange concept. What a wonderful concept. Far away on Frontier Station Goguryeo, Taehyun Kim was having a bad day. The main coolant system was acting up again, and nobody seemed to care enough to give him the parts he needed to fix it properly. He sat in the maintenance bay covered in grease trying to make a temporary repair that would last more than a week. "Hey, Taehyun." His friend Sua poked her head into the bay. "Did you hear? We're getting an alien ambassador, the first real diplomatic contact with another species." Taehyun grunted and continued working. "That's nice. You're not excited?" "This is huge. First contact protocol, formal ceremonies, the whole thing. I'm sure it'll be very interesting for the diplomats," Taehyun said, tightening a bolt. "I'll be down here making sure the station doesn't fall apart while they have their fancy parties." Sua laughed. "You're impossible." "You know that?" "I'm practical," Taehyun corrected. "Somebody has to be." After Sua left, Taehyun sat back and wiped his hands on a rag. He didn't fit in with most of the crew. They liked sharp lines and military precision. They decorated their quarters with geometric patterns and modern art. Taehyun preferred curves and soft edges. He liked things that felt warm and comfortable, not cold and efficient. His quarters were full of old-style furniture with rounded edges. He collected antique tools that had been worn smooth by generations of use. His crewmates thought he was weird. Maybe he was, but at least he was honest about it. The day of the alien arrival came faster than expected. Taehyun was ordered to be present at the docking bay, in case any technical issues came up. He stood in the back, wearing his cleanest maintenance uniform, watching the diplomatic corps in their fancy clothes. The alien ship was beautiful, in a strange way. It looked like it was made of crystal and light, almost too delicate to be real. The docking clamps engaged with a soft hiss and the airlock began to cycle. "I wonder what they look like," someone whispered nearby. "Probably tall and impressive," another voice answered. "Advanced species are always tall in the vids." The airlock opened. The Voxarian delegation stepped through and there were gasps throughout the docking bay. They were tall and impossibly thin, their crystalline skin catching the light and throwing rainbows across the walls. They moved like dancers, all grace and sharp angles. Then she stepped through. Princess Hana was shorter than the others. Her skin glowed with a soft purple light that seemed warm instead of cold. She had curves where the others had sharp lines. Her face was round and gentle, with large eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. She wore robes that looked like they were made of starlight, but they couldn't hide her shape. Taehyun felt his breath catch in his throat. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. He watched the other humans' faces. They were trying to be polite, but he could see the confusion. They had expected all the aliens to look the same. This one was clearly different, and they didn't know what to make of it. But Taehyun understood immediately. He had spent his whole life being different, preferring things that others found strange. And now, looking at this alien princess, he saw someone who didn't fit in with her own people. He saw someone like him. The formal greetings began. Admiral Dongwoo Choi stepped forward to welcome the delegation. Princess Hana spoke in perfect human standard language, her voice soft and melodic. The other Voxarians stood stiff and cold behind her, like they didn't want to be associated with her. Tae-hyun's hands clenched into fists. He recognized that body language. He had seen it before, directed at himself. These aliens were ashamed of their princess. They had brought her here as some kind of joke. His jaw tightened. He didn't know this alien. He had never met her before this moment. But he already knew one thing for certain. They were wrong about her, and somehow he was going to prove it.